So it's been a little while since our last trip together. So I ended up developing shin splints. So this is gonna be my first hike back. So it's gonna be a nice, easy hike. I'm gonna go up to Cedar Glen Campground and spend the night up there, come back in the morning. Super easy overnight trip. We'll talk more once I hit the trail. To the trailhead. I've already filled out my permit, so I'm gonna get out, stretch for a couple moments, then let's hit the trail. Let's get out and get going. Always a good idea to hit the bathroom before you hit the trail. Just left the parking lot for bathrooms, getting ready to start the trail. Shortly after you start your hike, you come up on some ruins of some old stone cabins. Let's go inside and take a look real quick. Stone cabins are pretty cool. There's a bunch that are dotted all throughout this whole little valley down here. So as you continue up through the canyon, you'll see plenty more to check out as well. So I do want to talk a little bit more about why I've had such a long pause. So shortly after I backpacked Cucamonga Peak, I'd gone for a run. Not anything too strenuous or crazy, but evidently enough to put some stress on the body. And earlier this year I had shin splints, and evidently I had just enough damage to it to get them to mess back up on me again, unfortunately. So I took a couple weeks off, let them rest, and then I finally got in to see a physical therapist. So on the advice of the physical therapist, I took a few months off. And I've been doing a lot of cross training. I've been doing a lot of cycling. I've been doing a lot of stretching and different workouts, trying to build up my shins. So hopefully I don't run into this issue again. So it's kind of interesting to see how much my fitness has dropped in even just a short period of time. So gonna be a nice test today. Once I start hitting those switchbacks, how I do going uphill. So I'm looking forward to my hike. It's just me tonight. I'm going solo. So hopefully you guys enjoy my musings and ramblings on. All right, let's get to hiking. I hope the video is coming out better than it had been in some of the previous ones. I picked up a gimbal, which is this cool device that helps eliminate some of that shaking. So hopefully the footage appears a bit more smooth for you guys. Oh, cool. Coming up on another ruined cabin. So the first mile or two up the Ice House Canyon Trail is pretty rocky. So make sure you take your time, watch where you're going, take in the beautiful views. You're crossing a ton of streams. It's absolutely beautiful through here. So on this hike, I've been able to keep my pack weight fairly light. I think I weighed in at about 10 and a half, 11 pounds. One of the reasons I was able to do this is because there's quite a bit of water throughout this hike. In fact, where I'll be spending the night at, there's water 0.3 miles from the campsite. So I'm getting off with not having to carry too much water weight today. Starting to set. through this valley. So I'll probably be setting up camp in the dark, but not too bad. Today's hike, only gonna be about 2.5 miles till I make camp. In the morning, nice easy hike down, 2.5 miles back. Making great time going uphill, so I'm gonna pick up the pace just a little bit and try to get a little bit further along the trail. Coming up onto a few more of the ruined cabins. Let's take a look at these. Seems like someone left the fireplace ready for us. All right, we have hit our intersection. If you came up here to continue up to the Icehouse Canyon Saddle, you can take either way, but this right side that we're looking at now will be the fastest. We're going to Cedar Glen Camp, so we'll be taking the trail here off to the left side. Climbs up some switchbacks towards the site. So far, so good. I wasn't too worried about my shins on the way up. I got interior shin splints, which means the front of my feet hurt. So typically that's exacerbated by the downhill hiking. So far, so good. Just taking my time, using my hiking poles, trying to take as much stress as possible off my legs. So looking like I might be there shortly after dark. I'm going a little slower than I expected, but heart rate's staying good, nice and normal for me. So I must not be out of shape as much as I thought it was going to be, so that's kind of nice. Coming up on some people that are coming down. So I figured while we're heading up the hill here, until I start losing my breath, I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the gear that I'm using. So for my backpack, I have an Osprey Exos 58. So I went with an Osprey for a few reasons. One, I got a really good deal on it. And that never hurts. Another reason why I went with Osprey is because they have a lifetime warranty. So if something were to happen to my bag, I'm able to send it off and get it repaired, or they'll replace it. So I kind of like that idea of buying something and being able to have it for its lifetime. So I do have some plans on doing some pretty long distance hiking in the future. And so I wanted something that was going to be able to accommodate all the gear that I would need for some of those long carries. And this should be about the smallest I can get away with and be able to keep all the supplies that I'm going to need for that trip. But one of the things I didn't want to sacrifice as well was going to be comfort. So I definitely subscribe to the ultralight kind of mentality in terms of trying to keep my pack weight as low as I can. Just makes trips way more enjoyable. The lighter your pack is, the quicker you're able to move, the easier it is to move. So I did end up sacrificing a little bit on the weight in order to try and get the most comfortable pack that I could, but I really like how the pack carries. It has this suspension system in the back. I'll put a clip in it later. And it shows how the ventilation goes through. And for those of us that work pretty hard on our hikes, we tend to sweat a little bit. And so it's really nice to have this extra airflow moving through the back right there. You definitely notice it. So this will be my third time taking this out on a backpacking trip. And so far, so good. Definitely a few things about the pack that I've already changed. I've removed the brain and a few of the straps. There are a lot of extra straps on this pack, so, after I get the hang of it and get used to doing full loadouts and going on some of my longer trips, then I'll go ahead and remove some of those straps as needed. Just the stuff I don't use, why have on there. So, pretty excited though. A couple other new pieces of gear that I'm testing out is this water bottle carrier. My wife got me that as a present. It was a nice surprise. And it seems to be working pretty good. Continuing uphill, I'll probably get to the campsite right as the sun is setting. It's looking like I'm getting pretty close. I remember I ran this trail about 2-3 months ago with my buddy Eddie. We did Ontario Peak, and on the way down, we decided to run it, and we took this path instead. So I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. It had been a while since I'd taken this trail, so it was nice to kind of see it ahead of time. There was water. I think it was just over a quarter mile from the campsite. So I'm thinking I might stop, fill up my water bottle tonight and filter it, or I might wait till the morning. We'll see how I'm feeling when I get close. I drank a bunch of water when I was at the car before I got started hiking, so don't really need to drink too much right now. Absolutely beautiful out here. I'm so glad I went out and decided to hike and spend the night out here. So I was thinking about it as I was getting ready, that this might actually be the first time I've been backpacking completely by myself. So I didn't even realize it, to be honest with you guys. Not really too nervous about it, but I just realized that most of the trips I end up going on, I got my wife, a friend, someone with me. So it's going to be nice to go out and spend the whole evening by myself, just relaxed with my own thoughts and you guys. So appreciate you sticking along with me and keeping me company for the evening. There's a few different types of training that I've really been focusing on with my backpacking. There's the physical side of things, of course. You got to be able to hike up and down mountains and things like that. But one of it's the psychological side. You got to toughen yourself up mentally. A lot of people are afraid of heights, myself included, especially when there's exposure involved. So if I'm hiking on a skinny trail and you can see the drop off right there with a few thousand feet, that definitely makes me a little more nervous. So what I did this year in particular, I spent a lot more time hiking trails like that. Stuff that pushed me just out of my comfort zone. Nothing I was in actual danger on, but I was outside my comfort zone. And because of that, I feel a lot more comfortable now hiking on that kind of stuff. So, while I'm not nervous about spending the night by myself out in the middle of nowhere here, it's still important to think about that it is, to a degree, some psychological training as well. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I know a lot of my friends, when I've invited them to go camping, are afraid to come out here. They're afraid to get eaten by a bear. They're afraid to see a snake. And I think it's sad. I can totally understand the fear. But I think it's important to also kind of address those fears and overcome them. Because if you live your life in fear, you miss out on a lot of opportunities to do things that may end up being something that you become incredibly passionate about. So, while remaining safe, I think it is important to push yourself out of your comfort zone a bit. That's what I'm working on doing. One of the things this winter that I plan on working on is my snow hiking. So I haven't spent a lot of time hiking in the snow. So I need to get some more gear and practice with it. I've never used micro spikes. I've never used an ice axe. So those are two new pieces of gear that I plan on trying to work and learn with. And it's something I've had a little apprehension about. You know, I get a little nervous about thinking about going over mountain passes in the snow. And so I think having some skills on how to self-arrest, as well as just increase my traction and spend some time there getting comfortable, is going to be great. It's going to really make me that much more confident in the future. And one of the biggest things for me, psychologically, this trip, is this is the first hike back since I've injured my shins. And it can be hard. You know, I'm nervous. I'm afraid what happens if I get up here and my shins start hurting. What happens if I wake up tomorrow morning and my shins are throbbing? Am I gonna injure myself to the point where I have to take months off again? So that's probably one of the biggest things I've been battling in my mind. So I'm glad I'm out here today, really trying to rip that Band-Aid off quick and get myself back out into it. So you guys should be seeing a lot more videos from me hopefully here in the future. Got a lot of cool stuff planned. A lot of cool hikes planned, man. So many cool hikes. I'm going to take you so many awesome places. Oh, man. I got to show you Buzzard Peak. Been to Stoddard Peak, Frankish Peak. I mean, that's just some of the local stuff. Not even to mention once we start getting out towards Joshua Tree this winter a bit more. Oh, man. Oh, man. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we got a lot of stuff coming, man. A lot of stuff, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So weather-wise tonight, it's supposed to be about 36, 38 degrees and cloudy. So that should be nice and warm. I have a 20 degree enlightened equipment quilt and my beanie. So I should be plenty warm. As you can see now, the sun is dropping quick. It's getting pretty dark. I'm taking off my sunglasses here in just a minute and switching over to the headlamp. Just got to the stream, guys. I'm gonna scoop up some water, put it in my smart water bottle, throw it on the filter, and I'm gonna finish this hike. I got a quarter mile till I hit the campsite and set up camp. So what I use is a cut off Sawyer squeeze bag, and I'll use this to scoop the water up out to add into my smart water bottle. So you guys can see what it looks like. I just have this Sawyer squeeze that's literally screws straight to the top of any Smart or Life water bottle. Sits right here in the side of my bag and it filters as I need it. All right, just made it into the campsite. It's already dark. I finished this hike with my headlamp. So I'm gonna get tent set up, get everything going. All right, guys, I figured I'd show you what I'm doing for food with bears because there are bears in this area. I have all of my food and trash inside an OP sack, which is like a giant Ziploc bag that is supposed to be scent proof. I put that OP sack inside a Ur sack, which has been tested to be able to withstand puncture from a grizzly bear. So it doesn't keep your food from getting crushed, but it keeps it from getting eaten. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm gonna go find a good tree and hang this up. All right, got the bag hung up. Gonna go finish getting the tent set up and relaxing. So I got my tent set up, got my quilt laid out, my air mattress all inflated. So I'm gonna relax, listen to an audiobook for a little bit, then I'm gonna get myself ready for bed. Thank you guys for sticking with me, and I will chat with you a little bit more in the morning over breakfast.
All right, guys, good morning. We made it through the night. No visitors, nothing unexpected, just a beautiful evening. I did not get cold last night, but I did sleep with my puffy and beanie on, so I cheated a little bit, so I stayed nice and warm. All right, let's get up. Start getting the stuff broken down. Hit the road.
I packed up the inside of my tent. Now I just got to break down the tent itself and put it all away. But otherwise, I'm ready to go. Figured before we leave though, I'm gonna give you a quick little look around the campsite so you can see what it was. It was a little dark when we got here last night. We come into it at. The trail runs along the side right here. Tons of spots in here for tents. I just finished packing up camp, started my hiking tracker on Strava, and I'm about to head downhill. So I'm not gonna take a lot of video going downhill because I need to use my poles for this. This is where I would have been injured at, so I'm gonna take it really slow, nice and careful. See you guys when we get back down to the car. So about a mile from the car, I got attacked by someone's dog. So they had their dog on a leash and stuff, but I mean, their dog still ran across the trail and attacked me. Luckily, I had my trekking poles next to my legs, so the trekking pole was inside the dog's mouth, so I only got the edges of the teeth around my leg, but I didn't get any skin broken, but I'm pretty sure my shin's gonna be bruised, so a little bit of a bummer. You know, just a heads up, if you guys own dogs, like I love dogs, I own 2. I take them hiking with me tons of times. But if you're gonna be on a trail that's tight and not a lot of room to pass people, if your dog's aggressive towards people or other dogs, leave him at home. It's not worth it, man. Not for the other hikers, it's not worth it for you. So the chick was super nice and apologetic about it, and I was cool, but just heads up, guys, especially if you're going up near this Icehouse Canyon saddle area, there's a lot of dogs. Many of them aren't on leashes, so. Anyways, the hike itself was absolutely great. I went down, took my time, seen a few people once I hit the Icehouse Canyon trail. I didn't see anyone going up towards the campsite where I was at. As I was getting ready to leave in the morning, in sight of my shoe prints from last night, I was able to see some mountain lion tracks. So, you know, I didn't see any mountain lions or bears or anything, but they are up there. So